Hi all. In the last session, we actually introduced what is meant by non-linear optics. Now today we can start our topics. So the first topic is the non-linear optical susceptibility. So we have already seen that in case of non-linear media, the polarization P can be as epsilon 0 chi 1 E plus epsilon 0 chi 2 E square plus epsilon 0 chi 3 E cube plus etc. Okay. So for nonlinear media, the polarization may depend on the first order, the second order, and third order, or the nth order of the applied electric field or the incident electric field of the light. Okay, then the first term is the linear term, or we can call it as a linear polarization. The second term is a polarization of second order, so it is called the second order polarization. And similarly, the third one is called the third order polarization, and so on. Okay, so there we can see the corresponding the proportionality constant. So there is epsilon 0. It is called the permittivity of free space, and thereafter there is an another constant called chi. So chi 1 for linear polarization, chi 2 for second order, and chi 3 for third order polarization. This chi 1, all this chi in general called susceptibility. So therefore, chi1 is called the linear susceptibility, and chi2 is called second order susceptibility, and chi3 the third order susceptibility, so on. Okay, so the chi is in general called susceptibility. So therefore, chi1 linear, chi2 and chi3 second and third order non-linear susceptibility. Okay, now usually the electric field is a vector and the polarization is also a vector. So therefore, if you look at chi1, the chi1 is not a scalar quantity. The chi1 in general is a tensor quantity. So if you take the linear media, so in the case of linear media, all the higher order polarization would be 0. So for linear media, we write P of t is simply epsilon 0 chi 1 e, the function of time. Okay, so in case of linear media, we have only chi1, the linear susceptibility, and this chi1 is not a scalar. So in general, this chi1 is tensor of rank 2, because the applied electric field and polarization need not be along the same direction. So therefore, chi1 need not be a scalar. So in general, chi1 is a tensor of second rank, and similarly, then what would be the chi2? So this is linear polarization, and the chi2 comes in the second order polarization. So the this chi2 connecting E square and P. So therefore, chi2 would be a tensor of rank 3, and chi3 the tensor of rank 4. etc. So you can generalize to any level. Okay. Now, in general, this susceptibility will is a function of omega. So the susceptibility is usually a function of omega. Okay, so for the time being, the omega is fixed. So that is why I'm not putting the symbol omega here. Okay, so but in general, so if you have non-monochromatic light, okay, then for different omega, the susceptibility will also be different. So in general, chi, the susceptibility is a function of omega. So that we need to remember. Okay. So we have the nonlinear susceptibilities and nonlinear polarization. So the nonlinear polarization, the second order we can write as P2, which is epsilon 0 chi2 E square, and the third order polarization P3 can be as epsilon 0 chi3 E cube, etc. Okay. Now the optical phenomena based on the second order polarization and third order polarization are different. And moreover, the second order polarization will be absent in the material with possessing center of symmetry or inversion symmetry. So this P2 would be absent for material with center of symmetry. Or it is called inversion symmetry. But P3 may be present for all material. So how come this P2 become absent in center of symmetry material? So the center of symmetry or inversion symmetry means if you take a crystal and if you transform all vector R to minus vector R, the material means crystal remains invariant. So that is what is meant by center of symmetry or inversion symmetry. Okay. Now, if you look at the second order polarization P2, so P2 is a function of T. We can write epsilon 0 chi2 E square. Now this chi2 is the third rank tensor. So therefore, we can attach two subscript for chi2. So epsilon 0 chi2 I j e I e j. Okay, I j k give pk. Okay, so better we can have the other way of writing in the indices. Okay, this ij, let us remain same. Pi, and this can be changed. Better we can write it as jk. Okay, so the pi, the ith component of the polarization can be as epsilon 0 chi2 ijk ejk. Remember, this chi2 is a third rank tensor. Okay, not second rank. This chi2 is a third rank tensor. The chi1 is a second rank tensor. So that is what we have written here. Chi2 is a tensor of rank 3, so it will have 3 indices. Okay. Now if you transform R to minus R, what would happen is Pi, the ith component of polarization. So if you change the reference, so this will become minus Pi. Okay, because the direction is changed from R to minus R. And epsilon 0 chi I j k, no need to change anything because these are the constants. Now what would happen to Ej and Ek? The direction of Ej and Ek would be reversed. It become minus Ej and it become minus Ek. Okay, so it is like, suppose you applied the electric field towards right side and you chosen the right side is positive x, then usually what will do that, okay, the electric field along the positive x direction. Okay, now you change x to minus x, then what you have to tell, the electric field is the along the minus e direction. Okay, it is minus e direction, so that's it. So that is why we have written here minus ej minus ek, and this minus into minus will become plus, and we can write epsilon 0 chi ijk of 2 ej ek. Now this is nothing but our original definition of pi, so it will become the ith component of the second order polarization. So minus pi equal to plus pi. So that is possible only if pi of 2 equal to 0. So this implies pi of 2 equal to 0 or chi ijk of 2 equal to 0. So therefore, the second order polarization or the second order susceptibility would be present only if the material is not possessing inversion symmetry. So it is available only for non-center of symmetric crystal. So it is available only for non-centro symmetric crystals. Okay, so in nature there are many crystals which is not showing the inversion symmetry. The examples are quartz, calcite, tourmaline. There are many material which shows the non-center of symmetric, and therefore it will have the chi2, the second order polarization. But whereas the chi3 or the third order polarization would be present in all the material. Okay. Now, then the question is, which is the very common nonlinear process? So the answer is a very common nonlinear process or very common nonlinear polarization is P3, the third order, and very common the susceptibility is the third order susceptibility. The chi3 is more common compared to the chi2. The chi2 is shown only in very few material. So naturally, only very few material shows chi2. But anyhow, you can produce your own material. You can build you can grow your own crystals with non-center of symmetric material, and you can have the chi2 in that. Okay, but mostly the most of the material possesses chi3 and not chi2. So that just you have to keep in your mind that chi2 is not universal, but chi3 is universal. The chi2 is available only in non-center of symmetric crystals. Okay. Now, if you look at, if you compare the value of chi1, chi2, chi3, so if you take the chi1 as unity, then in order the chi2 usually takes the value of 1.94 into 10 raised to minus 12 meter per volt, and chi3 takes the order of 3.78 into 10 raised to minus 24 meter square per volt square. Okay, so we have already said that the electric field that you're applying must be comparable to the atomic electric field, which is in the order of 10 raised to 11 volt per meter. Okay, so if you have this much of electric field, okay, then chi2 and chi3 would be present, or the chi2 and chi3 presence would be observed only if the chi2 takes this much value and chi3 takes this much value. Okay, now remember this chi2, chi3 values are very small. Okay, so that is why in usually in the normal electric field we cannot observe this phenomena. So only at a very high electric field we can see some the nonlinear behavior. Okay, so so this with this we have completed discussion of nonlinear optical susceptibilities. Okay, so remember it is just uh, the quantity which connects the electric field and polarization, or it connects the electric field and nonlinear polarizations. So if you expand the polarization at different powers of the incident electric field, so we can have the first order term. There the susceptibility is linear susceptibility, and we have second order term. The corresponding susceptibility is called second order, is called chi2, and the term which having the third order electric field has a corresponding susceptibility chi3, and it is called the third order susceptibility, and so on. And chi2 is 0 for most of the material. So material which possesses the inversion symmetry have 0 value for chi2, and but chi3 is present for all material, but the value of this chi2, chi3 is very small compared to chi1. So if you take the chi1 is 1, okay, so most of the solid, the chi1 that is mainly in condensed matter physics. Chi1 is chosen to be 1, and you can compare the chi2, chi3 values accordingly. The chi2 value comes in the order of 10 raised to minus 12, and chi3 is again 10 raised to minus 24. So it's very smaller values. So when you're going to chi4 again, that will be very negligible. Okay, so with this we can stop the discussion about the nonlinear susceptibilities. So in the next class onwards, we'll start discussing the applications of the nonlinear optics in detail. Okay.